Hi. So the events of last weekend, they really bothered me, and I wanted to say something on it. As most of you may know, on Sunday in the early morning hours, WPC Eversley was murdered whilst on duty at the municipal police station, which is located at Kings Wharf in San Fernando. She was killed in the line of duty. The perpetrator or perpetrators then cleared out the armory of the police station and stole what is now listed as 100 firearms and over 4,000 rounds of ammunition. That was shocking because it is a brazen attack on our national security. Now, later that night, Sunday night, the nation heard of a quadruple murder. A car was traveling along Lady Young Road and came under heavy gunfire, crashed a short distance later. All four occupants were killed. One of the occupants was an 8, some reports have her as a 9-year-old girl, Jelena Armstrong. Now, I understand that as a society, we may become desensitized to crime and violence, especially murder, because unfortunately, we've just been exposed to so much of it over the past few years. And as an attorney, while my specialty is not criminology, I do research, I speak to experts, and what I have recognized is that our current national security apparatus is not as effective as we would like it to be. So something is not working with what the methodologies that we have been using over the past few years. In my research and again in speaking to experts, and these experts would have advised successive governments. So this is not just, a current administration issue. It has been persisting, some would say, for decades. And what is clear is that what we have been doing is not working. The stats show us that. The limited results that we get annually, even after throwing billions of dollars at the Ministry of National Security, demonstrates this. The recurrent states of emergency demonstrate that that is an ineffective tool to combating crime and violence, because a state of emergency is a limited thing. It is a band-aid on a much bigger problem. So it might be easy to throw our hands up in the air to, become really despondent and say, well, what else can we do? But there are things that we can try. And I'm not saying to do away with policing, because we must have policing. But policing has to work hand in hand with other strategies. And these other strategies we can pull from regional jurisdictions, we can pull from international jurisdictions where they have worked. Some of these strategies include investing heavily in diversion programs, in mentorship programs. You would be driving around Trinidad and Tobago, for example, and you would see all these nice new community centers, homework centers, but it doesn't ever seem as though anything is happening there. Open those up, utilize them, invest in extracurricular activities, expand the social safety net so that vulnerable persons in our society can get the kind of financial and other assistance that they need. What we also need is that we want to see some kind of accountability for rogue elements in the police service. We need to see that when these bad apples do something that is illegal, that they are held to account. We must start to use the body cameras because as a society, as a result of the lack of trust in the TTPS, we are not sure if we can believe our police when they say that, they cornered a suspect, they were chasing after a suspect, and then as a result of an exchange of gunfire, the police being in fear for their lives, they, shot and killed that perpetrator. And because there are no body worn cameras, it is hard to believe what they say when we look at, the CCTV footage from a residence or something like that, and we see something different play out. I know that we have some forms of community policing in Trinidad and Tobago, but that must be ramped up because community policing only results in positivity. It fosters and builds good relations between the community and the police because, again, you're building trust. Another thing that we have to invest heavily in is mental health. Mental health is extremely important. Now, again, I am not saying to do away with policing. Policing is a very crucial component of dealing with crime and violence. But we also have to recognize that crime and violence is a socio-economic problem and we need to deal with it at the root. We need to be proactive and not just reactive as a society. So these are things that the government can do, but we ourselves as citizens have to hold ourselves accountable. In order for us to see the change that we want to see in this country, we need to model that kind of behavior as well within our families, within our communities, within our friend group, whatever the case may be. And do things in our own small spaces to make some kind of change. All is not lost. I hope so. I hold on to that light at the end of the tunnel that someday, with the right policies, with the right mindset, we can really turn that corner and change our country into one in which we feel safe and secure.